The speaker connected to my wife's phone by accident, and the whole room heard a voice whisper, "I miss you in my bed." She looked around, terrified. But the real shock came 30 seconds later. "I miss you in my bed." That was the voice that echoed through the living room. Clear, soft, intimate. A whisper not meant for anyone in that room to hear. And definitely not meant for me. It came from the old Bose speaker I hadn't touched in months. A speaker that, thanks to some long-forgotten Bluetooth setting, connected itself to my wife's phone while we were setting up for dinner with friends. At first, I thought it was a song intro. But then came the second voice, also male. "Does he suspect anything yet?" I didn't move. My hand was still frozen on the bottle of red wine I'd been uncorking. I turned to look at my wife, Lydia, standing on the other side of the room. Her face had gone pale. Not shocked. Not confused. Terrified. Everyone went quiet. Our guests stared, wide-eyed. My best friend Adam raised his eyebrows like, "Did we just hear that right?" Lydia snapped into action, lunging toward the speaker like it had just started playing a confession to murder. She fumbled with her phone and blurted, "Oh my God, sorry. Must be some podcast glitch. That wasn't supposed to play." Her hands were shaking. She kept tapping and swiping like she was deleting evidence, because I think she was. Nobody laughed. Not one person in the room thought it was funny. It was that kind of silence where people look around, trying to figure out who's supposed to say something. I broke the silence. I smiled. "Podcast glitch, huh?" She nodded, avoiding eye contact. I poured the wine. "Let me back up for a second. My name's Mark. I'm 34. I work from home as a software engineer, mostly on back-end systems for small companies. Lydia and I have been married for 7 years. We met at a mutual friend's birthday party in Chicago. She was bold, sarcastic, confident, the kind of woman who made you feel like she was doing you a favor just by talking to you. I like that. We dated for 2 years, moved in after 6 months, and got married just before her 26th birthday. No major red flags. At least none I noticed at the time. But in the last year, things changed. She started dressing up more often. For errands. She started keeping her phone face down and locked even when we were alone. She suddenly got into fitness again, woke up early, went for runs, even hired a personal trainer. I asked about it once. She laughed it off. "I'm just trying to feel good about myself again. You should try it too." It didn't feel like a joke. It felt like something sharpened at the edges. Back to that night. After the podcast glitch, everyone awkwardly moved on. Kind of. The energy in the room never recovered. Conversations were short. Glasses were overfilled. People left earlier than planned. I didn't blame them. As I was saying goodbye to Adam at the door, he leaned in and whispered, "Man, I don't know what that was, but you good?" I nodded. "Yeah, all good." But it wasn't. After everyone left, Lydia tried to act normal, like nothing happened. "So, that was weird, right?" she said, walking into the kitchen where I was loading the dishwasher. "Yeah, super weird," I said, without looking up. She hovered. "I seriously don't even know what that was. I think it was from a show I was listening to earlier, some kind of crime thriller. You know how they open with dialogue sometimes?" I kept washing. Let her dig the hole herself. "Could have sworn I turned that app off," she added. I looked at her then. Really looked. "Which show?" I asked. "What? Which show was it? Maybe I'll check it out." She blinked. I don't remember the name. It just popped up on my feed. Random, I think." That was her lie. And it was terrible. Later that night, she fell asleep quickly. I stayed up. Not because I was overthinking. Because I was finally starting to see everything that felt off for the past year. It suddenly made sense. The increased phone privacy. The gym sessions. The late-night walks with AirPods in. The weekend conferences she swore were for professional development. The vague answers when I asked questions. I used to think maybe it was me. That I was overanalyzing. Being insecure. Turning into that guy who reads too much into things. But that voice. That whisper. It confirmed what I already knew deep down. My wife was having an affair. And now? I wasn't going to confront her. I was going to investigate her. The next morning, I made her coffee just the way she liked it. Cinnamon, oat milk, no sugar. She walked into the kitchen wearing one of my old hoodies like nothing had happened the night before. She smiled. "Thanks, babe." I smiled back. Of course. And right after she left for work, I started digging. Not into her phone. I knew better. Lydia was smart. She had Face ID enabled and changed her passcode every month. But there was one thing she wasn't smart about. She never unlinked her cloud account from our shared MacBook. Back when she got a new iPhone 2 years ago, we set everything up on that Mac because her old one was fried. She barely used the laptop anymore, but the sync was still active. I opened it up, held my breath, and clicked on the Photos app. It took 10 seconds for everything to load. 10 seconds to see her real life. The first thing I noticed was the hidden album. It wasn't locked, just tucked away, labeled Archive. I opened it. The most recent photo was taken 2 weeks ago. Lydia was in a robe, holding a glass of wine, smiling at someone off camera. It wasn't our house. It wasn't any hotel I recognized. There were more. Her sitting by a fireplace. Her walking barefoot through a hallway that wasn't ours. Her wearing a hoodie that wasn't mine. Then came the photo that made my stomach twist. A selfie of her head on someone's chest, his hand on her shoulder. He wasn't fully in frame, but I could see his neck, a bit of his jaw, and a watch, black dial, leather strap, Rolex Daytona. I clicked info. The metadata was intact. Taken in Vermont. I clicked again. Geotag, Green Valley Lodge. 2-night stay. I opened Google. The Green Valley Lodge was a rustic resort about 4 hours from us. Private cabins, no front desk after hours. Perfect for a weekend affair. She told me she was going on a wellness retreat with some coworkers. She even brought back a pamphlet and a tiny candle. Turns out, she brought back more than that. I sat there, scrolling through her lies. There were voice memos, too. About 8 of them, all around 30 seconds to a minute. Sent from iMessage and saved to her account. All from the same number. No contact name. I played the oldest one. Last night was insane. I can still smell you on me. He's so clueless. I paused it. I didn't think it would hit me that hard. But it did. I wasn't angry. I wasn't devastated. Not in that moment. I just felt small. Like I'd been a background character in someone else's story. Still, I needed more. I pulled one of the images into a metadata viewer and zoomed in on the background. License plate barely visible on a parked car outside the cabin window. I sharpened the image, enhanced the contrast. It gave me a partial plate. PK28H7. Enough to start with. I called in a favor. My cousin Ryan works in local law enforcement. We're not close, but he owed me a favor after I helped him set up a network for his side business. I told him I was helping a friend who suspected his sister's new boyfriend might be sketchy. Didn't give details. Just asked if he could check the plate. A few hours later, Ryan texted me. Registered to Daniel Lang. 42. Used to work at Dalmare Financial. Dalmare. That's where Lydia used to work. Used to. Until about 8 months ago when she said the company was too toxic and she needed a change. I Googled Daniel Lang. VP of Sales. Fired in December for violating company policy. I dug deeper. An internal tipster blog mentioned he'd been accused of multiple inappropriate relationships with subordinates. I sat back in my chair. She didn't just cheat. She kept seeing the man who got fired for having affairs with coworkers. A man she told me had made her feel uncomfortable in the past. Turns out, he made her feel very comfortable. Lydia came home that night humming. She kissed my cheek, dropped her bag, and asked what I wanted for dinner. I said I wasn't hungry. Then she went to shower. She even sang in there, like someone without a care in the world. I walked past the bathroom door, paused, and listened to her voice echoing off the tiles. That's when I decided. I wouldn't confront her yet. No yelling. No tears. No questions. I'd gather everything I needed, quietly. And then, I'd burn it all down. You ever have that moment where all the puzzle pieces are scattered across the floor for months, years maybe, and suddenly, one tiny movement shifts everything into place? That was me, sitting at our kitchen table the next morning, drinking coffee while Lydia scrolled through Instagram like nothing was rotting beneath the surface. She looked up and said, "You know what might be fun? A weekend away. Just the two of us." I nearly laughed. But instead, I said, "That's a great idea. Got anywhere in mind?" She smiled like she'd been waiting for that. "There's this cabin lodge in Vermont. I went there last year for a retreat, remember? It was beautiful. Cozy. We could use the escape." That's when it hit me. She didn't just cheat there. She remembered it fondly. She wanted to go back. With me. To the same place where she let someone else whisper in her ear. My stomach turned, but my face didn't flinch. I nodded. "Let's book it." By that night, I had the plan. I logged into the Green Valley Lodge website and booked the exact same cabin from her photos. Cabin 14. I knew it was the right one. Same fireplace, same window view, even the same throw blanket on the couch. I didn't stop there. I called the front desk and casually asked if I could get a list of past stays in that unit. "I've been there before," I lied. "I just can't remember when." The woman on the phone said she wasn't technically supposed to share that kind of info. I said I'd tip her $100 if she could jog my memory. She paused, then gave me this. "Let's just say someone under the name Lydia Harrow stayed in that cabin 4 times last year. Once in January, once in May, twice in October. Always with a Daniel Lang. He paid for 3 of them." She laughed like it was just gossip. I didn't. The weekend came fast. We packed up, loaded the car, drove the 4 hours upstate. She played music, offered snacks, told me stories from work. I nodded, smiled when I needed to. But every time I looked at her face, I kept thinking, how many lies has she told with that same expression? When we pulled up to the cabin, she got visibly nostalgic. Wow, she said softly. I forgot how peaceful it is out here. No, she didn't. She remembered everything. Inside, she was all over me. Flirty, playful, trying to erase whatever tension she still felt from that voice memo incident. She lit a fire, poured wine, put on a playlist of soft acoustic covers. She even wore the same silk robe from the pictures I found in her hidden album. And that's when it clicked. This wasn't a memory for her. It was a script. She was trying to recreate what she had with him, but with me. And that's when I decided to flip the script. That night, I told her I was exhausted. Long drive. Needed sleep. She didn't argue. Just kissed my cheek and climbed into bed. At 2 a.m., I got up quietly and retrieved the tiny GoPro I'd hidden in my duffel bag. I'd already set it up earlier that day, tucked on the top bookshelf, disguised behind a row of paperbacks. It faced the bed, the fireplace, the wine glasses, everything. I took her phone, unlocked with Face ID while she slept, pulled up her voice memos, and I hit play. I miss you in my bed. Her voice shifted in her sleep. She stirred, rolled over. Then came the second voice. Does he suspect anything yet? She sat up, confused, then suddenly alert. She looked at her phone, then scanned the room. She whispered, No, 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 this is old. This was deleted. Why is this playing? Then she froze and said the line that sealed her fate. Daniel, I thought we deleted that one. That was it. I had it all. Audio, video, a record of her saying his name and admitting what they'd done. Not just cheating, but premeditated, prolonged, and covered up. I turned the GoPro off, crawled back into bed before she realized what happened. The next morning, she acted like she'd dreamed the whole thing. Never brought it up. Made eggs. Kissed me good morning. I smiled, because I knew what she didn't. She'd just handed me everything I needed. And now, I was going to make her watch as I used it. The drive home from Vermont was quiet. Not awkward quiet, calm quiet. Lydia looked out the window most of the way, headphones in, eyes distant. I think a part of her knew something was off. Maybe she dreamed it. Maybe she didn't. But she felt it. The air had shifted. I, on the other hand, had never felt more focused. While she watched clouds, I thought of strings. Not the metaphorical kind, actual strings. Threads that connected people. Her company, her ex-boss, his wife, their reputation, their lies. All of it was held together by their silence. And now I had the scissors. First stop was her job. Lydia worked at a boutique consulting firm downtown. Small team. Prestigious clients. I remembered something she once said after happy hour with her coworkers. My boss would kill me if I so much as liked a shirtless photo online. Reputation is everything there. Good. I bought a blank USB drive. Loaded the video from the cabin. I didn't need to include the audio of Daniel's voice. I had something better, her whispering, Daniel, I thought we deleted that one. Then I printed a single screenshot, her curled up on the cabin couch, the wine glass in hand, time-stamped, with the hotel's Wi-Fi name in the corner. That was my envelope number 1. Inside, I wrote just 5 words. Do your HR policies apply equally? I mailed it to the head of her HR department, anonymously, from a neighboring city. Next target, Daniel Lang. After some light social media digging, I found his wife's name, Erica Lang. Facebook showed they had 2 kids, one in middle school, one barely 6. Erica was private, but tag posts gave me enough to confirm where she worked, an elementary school librarian. She seemed decent. The kind of woman who still made birthday cakes from scratch and posted family trip photos with corny hashtags like #LangAdventures. She deserved to know. Envelope 2 contained 4 things. The same cabin photo of Lydia. A timestamp matching one of Daniel's work conferences. The license plate photo I pulled from the metadata. And 1 printed voice memo transcript. Lydia, he's so clueless. We're safe, Daniel. Let's just be careful, yeah? She can't find out. No signature. Just a post-it note stuck on top. You should ask him where he really was last October. Back at home, I was ice cold. I still slept in the same bed. Still brought her tea when she had cramps. Still laughed at her office drama stories. She probably thought I'd finally let go of that Bluetooth moment. But every hour she sat on the couch smiling, texting, brushing hair behind her ear like nothing happened. Every second of it made what I was doing feel earned. And then came the final move. She was planning a dinner. Just us, she said. No friends. No distractions. It was a Wednesday. She made pasta, poured a nice bottle of wine, wore a red dress I'd bought her 3 anniversaries ago. I dressed up too. Played my part. Halfway through the meal, I stood up. She smiled. Where you going? Forgot something, I said. I walked to the front door, opened it, and brought in the last piece. A small gift box. Wrapped. No card. I handed it to her and sat back down. What's this? She asked. Just open it. She peeled it slowly. Inside, the GoPro, and a tiny folded note that said, I've seen everything. And now? So will they. She stared at the camera like it was ticking. Her hand trembled. What are you talking about? I stood up. Calm. Still. Your HR department got it Monday. Daniel's wife got hers yesterday. You're smart, Lydia. I'll let you do the math. She shot up from the chair. You sent them? Are you insane? No, I said. But I'm done pretending you're not. She stared at me, mouth slightly open. She wasn't crying. She wasn't screaming. She was calculating. How much did you send them? Enough. And with that, I walked into the bedroom, packed an overnight bag, grabbed my laptop, and left. I didn't say we're over or you ruined us or I can't believe you'd do this. Because I could believe it. I just refused to let it continue. I checked into a hotel 20 minutes from home. Nothing fancy, just clean sheets and silence. The first call came before I'd even reached the elevator. Lydia. Then another. And another. By the time I placed my bag down on the bed, I had 6 missed calls. No messages. Just the frantic red badge on my screen, multiplying. I turned off notifications, slid my phone into the nightstand drawer, and ordered a burger from room service. That night, I slept like a man who had finally stopped bleeding. The next morning, I woke up to 47 missed calls. 12 voicemails. The first few were her voice, fake calm. Hey, just call me, okay? We can talk through this. Then, Mark, please don't blow this out of proportion. We've been doing so good lately. That trip was, don't do this. By voicemail 7, the tone cracked. You don't understand. This wasn't some affair, okay? I was going through stuff. You weren't there. And then, you don't get to destroy my life over this. You don't get to. I deleted them all. Later that day, I got a text from Adam, my best friend, the one who had been there the night the speaker connected. Dude, she's losing it. Posted some vague victim story on IG. But the office thing? That's real. Heard from Kara that she got pulled into HR this morning. I just replied, appreciate the heads up. By Friday, she was home. Alone. Daniel's wife had, apparently, changed the locks and taken the kids to her sister's house. His LinkedIn showed, open to work. He was no longer on the Dalmare alumni page. Another win. But I wasn't celebrating. I was watching. I sent her one last package. Not because I needed to, but because I knew she still didn't get it. Inside was a single page. No threats. No photos. Just a quote. From her favorite TV show, actually, one I used to pretend to like for her sake. The quote read, sometimes the silence after the explosion is louder than the blast. Folded beneath it was a divorce filing. Already signed on my end. No discussion. No mediation. Clean. Cold. Final. Saturday evening, I drove by the house one last time. She was on the porch. Same hoodie. Barefoot. On the phone, pacing. I didn't slow down. I didn't look back. She had made her choices. I had made mine. I didn't go nuclear. I didn't scream in public or expose her on social media. But I made sure she felt it where it mattered. Her reputation, her secrets, her safety net. All gone. She didn't just lose a husband. She lost the version of herself that looked untouchable. And that was the point. 2 weeks after I dropped off the divorce papers, Lydia stopped calling. No texts. No voicemails. She finally understood. But I hadn't blocked her. I wasn't hiding. I just didn't care to respond anymore. Everything was quiet. Too quiet, almost. That's when I got the message. Not from her, but from Erica Lang, Daniel's wife. It was short. Direct. Whatever you did, thank you. I wish I'd seen it sooner. You saved me years. That one hit me. Because I hadn't thought of it like that before. I wasn't just ending something for me. I had exposed something much bigger. Lydia and Daniel hadn't just been cheating. They had created an entire alternate reality. One built on lies, manipulation, timing, and convenience. And now, everyone was walking away from it. Except them. About a month later, I returned to the house one last time. We'd agreed that she'd move out by the end of the month. It was still legally ours for another few weeks while we settled the split. I came by to grab the last few things I hadn't taken the first time, some notebooks, tax docs, my old bike. When I walked in, the place felt hollow. Half the furniture gone. Art taken off the walls. Kitchen bare. The bedroom looked like a hotel room mid-checkout. But there was something sitting on the bed. A box. Wrapped. No tag. I opened it slowly, expecting maybe a peace offering. Or another sad attempt at closure. Inside, my hoodie. The one she always wore. And underneath it, folded once, was a handwritten note. You were never clueless. That was my mistake. You didn't need to yell. Or threaten. You just left. And that's what ruined me. I stared at it for a while. Not because it meant something, but because I realized. She still didn't get it. She thought this was about her. The cheating. The betrayal. The lies. But it wasn't. It was about me. Reclaiming my self-respect. My boundaries. My peace. The moment that speaker blared out her double life, the old version of me, the one who rationalized, forgave too quickly, let things slide, died in that room. And the man who stood up after that, he didn't scream. He didn't break plates. He just left. So I folded the hoodie, left the note on the counter, walked out, locked the door behind me. And this time, I didn't look back. She thought the explosion would destroy me, but it just cleared the path. And that's the story. If you're still here, that means you're one of us. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I drop new chaos every single day, and trust me, tomorrow's story, it's even worse than this one.